4, 3, 4, 5. What's up, Seahawks, and welcome to In the Hoop, a weekly show where we'll keep you in the loop with all things UNCW basketball. I'm your host, Davis Bell, and with me today I've got Ryan Weiner to break down the men's and women's media days. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So we'll start here with the women's media day. We got to talk a lot to Coach Woods about her locker room and what she's been seeing from her players both on and off the court. A lot of the players mentioned that they've got all the fire and passion on the court, but they've still got love and friendship off the court. It looks like we've got a really tight-knit group this year.
Yeah, you can see the friendships and the bonds building between the girls off the court. At Media Day, they're making videos, they're laughing, making jokes, they're using silly props for the pictures. They're all very close off the court. You can tell that the work that they've put in over the summer has definitely helped develop their relationships, even though there's a lot of new players this year.
Oh, yeah. A lot of laughs at Women's Media Day.
Yeah, it was a good time.
It was a great time. But speaking of on the court, they've got a lot of new players this year, but they've got a lot of returning star talent. We've got 4 freshmen who, one of the best freshman classes we've ever had at UNCW. They've got 4 freshmen who Coach Woods has called freshmen who don't know they're freshmen, which to me makes it sound like they are really going to hit the ground running this year.
Yeah, 2 of those freshmen have been recognized with McDonald's All-American nominations, and this caliber of player, this caliber of freshman have traditionally not looked at UNCW in the past as a potential home, and that is the Nicole Woods effect. That is the Coach Woods effect. She is an elite recruiter, and yeah, that's just something that is continuing to change in UNCW in Wilmington. It's becoming a women's basketball destination.
Yeah, we've got a lot of great freshmen this year, but we've also got a lot of great transfers coming in. Coach Woods talked to me specifically about how she looked for winning players from the transfer portal. We've got a lot of experience coming onto this roster that wasn't here last year.
Yeah, we have Power 5 caliber players. We have award-winning players from within the conference. You know, we have the reigning CAA 6th Player of the Year. There's a number of impact transfers that are going to make an immediate impact on UNCW's lineup.
Yeah, but looking at some of the familiar faces we've got our 3 top scorers from last season's team, including Taylor Henderson, who was all CAA rookie team. She really looks like she's going to take a big leap this year. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think Taylor's going to take a big leap. I think Kyla Silver's going to be in order for another big step this year. I think the Seahawks are lucky to have Evan Miller back. It was uncertain if Miller was going to be coming back for this last year. She made the decision to come back, and at Media Day she said that the decision was easy, but it wasn't always known that that decision was easy. So we are very thankful that Evan has came back. So between those returning impact players and these new transfers and these new freshmen, the Seahawks are in a really good position, I think, going into this year.
Yeah, they really are. They've really changed the culture ever since Coach Woods took over, because she really kind of took over at a low point in the program, and she's really picked up steam, like you said, recruiting, getting winning players from the transfer portal. We've really on a big uptick for women's basketball now. But switching over, what can you tell us about men's basketball media day?
For men's basketball media day, it was a little bit different of an environment and a setting than the women's basketball media day. It was a team that once again had a lot of new players, but has also, they're coming in with a different attitude, I would say, than the women's team. The men's team lost their first postseason game last year in an unfortunate loss to Towson. And I just think that's something that's on the top of their mind. And so at Men's Media Day, to see the incoming transfers, to see the incoming freshmen, and to see our returners, and to get to talk to them, that was a great opportunity. I think expectations are high.
Yeah. I think, like you said, this is a men's program that is in a very different spot than the women's program. You know, they were last season coming off of 2 CAA championship runner-ups, lost that first postseason game, and they return a lot of that talent that got them to those championships. But I think Coach Siddle has really taken this team to new heights this year, and they've got a lot of new talent. They've got some height this year. Just a little fun fact, Coach Siddle has never at UNCW had a player over 6'9" on the roster. This year we've got 2 of them. I'm real excited about that.
We have incoming players that are big. We have returning players that are big. We have Harlan Obiaha. He's a 7-foot transfer from Niagara. And then we have a freshman, McCoy. He's a 6'11" freshman coming from the Charlotte area. Along with that, there's a number of incoming transfers, wing players, guards that are going to make an immediate impact. But the one thing, that is notable is the added height. It's the 4 players standing over 6'9", 2 players over 6'11". It's an identity that the Seahawks have not had in the past, and it's something that could potentially push them over the edge. And that seems like a priority that Siddle is, moving up in the rankings rather than some other stuff in the past.
When he was talking to us at Media Day, he talked about his background first at UNCW under Coach Keats and then at NC State with a pressing defense. And I think he's going to return to that this year. We haven't seen that too much at UNCW under his head coaching tenure. But he seems real excited about this team, and I'm right there with him.
Yeah, moving from like the size aspect to the pressing background, that's one thing in particular with these transfers. We have graduate senior Bo Montgomery standing at 6'5". We have Sean Moore standing at 6'7". Then we have returners and Noah Ross, Nolan Hodge, 6'7". These are guys that can play on the wing. They can play positions 2 through 4. They have switchability. They have defensive versatility, as well as, athleticism and the ability to play under the basket and play offensively. So one thing that Siddle is obviously prioritizing is versatility. He's prioritizing quickness, and I think that is going to come out on the defensive side with that pressing background. The ability to switch in the backcourt when you're pressing a team is just something that cannot be replaced. So when you have wing players standing at 6'7", long arms, big, strong bodies, that's something that's going to disrupt the other team's ball handlers.
Yeah, I'm real excited to see that too. And something Coach Siddle has also stressed is some of the internal improvements. Like you mentioned, we've got a lot of returning talent. Noah Ross, Nolan Hodge, Kamari McGriff. Kamari McGriff especially, he's talked about, has done a lot this offseason. And I think we're going to see a lot out of those players as well as our new faces all kind of combining to show what we've got this year.
Yeah, Kamari McGriff in particular is somebody, I'd like to touch on. Last year, McGriff started a number of games for the Seahawks, but he did not play like a large amount of minutes. He was somebody that was playing in sort of a platoon role, of like subbing in for small periods of time, being an energy guy. And I think that he's has the ability to take that leap this year. Siddle touched on it at Media Day. He talked about Kamari has not only taken a step forward, he's taken multiple steps forward. He's talked about the possibility of Kamari playing in 2 big lineups with Harlan Obiaha, with Harlan being at 7 foot and Kamari being at 6'9". The potential advantages that could arise from a 2 big lineup with Kamari's speed and Harlan's power is something that I think is worthy to note, as well as Nolan Hodge and Noah Ross. And I don't want to forget about Donovan Newby.
No, you can't.
So Donovan Newby comes in this year as a solidified lead guard for this team. He's a general. He's a steady shoulder, a steady head on his shoulders. So I think the returners that we have and the incoming transfers that we have are going to mesh for a very productive season.
Yeah, I know I got to talk to Noah Ross at Media Day, and he was telling me about how himself, Nolan Hodge, and Donovan Newby have really kind of taken over because the 3 of them are some of the most veteran players we have who've been at UNCW for multiple years. And, we've got so many new players. He was telling me that they're really in a leadership role, stressing the culture of this program, how we've built something here at UNCW, Coach Siddle has, and all these players have. And we've got a reputation in the CAA as not only the toughest home arena, but that when UNCW comes to town or when you go to Wilmington, you're in for a tough night no matter who's on the roster.
Yeah, and I think in the age of the transfer portal, for UNCW to bring in a large array of talent from all over the country, and as the season unfolds and as we get closer to the season, we'll talk about what this team's going to look like. But with players like Josh Corbin, players like Elijah Jamison, players like Sean Moore, who have played in big games and had big moments, I think this roster goes, 12, 13 impact players, significant players deep. And that's just something that maybe UNCW also has not had in the past. And so when you're playing a high energy defensive style that Siddle maybe wants to play, having that depth and having fresh legs, be able to execute that half-court press is going to be extremely important, I think, for the Seahawks.
Yeah, well, I think you hit the nail on the head. One of the most important parts of this team is, we've got great individual talent, but we've got 12 or 13 guys who can see the roster every single night. And like you said, that just helps with energy, when our opponents have their guys are having to play 30, 35 minutes a night, our guys have fresh legs. And with that pressing defense, that's really going to help us stand out in the CAA, I think.
Yeah, I'd have to take a look at the CAA's rosters. But I really think that I don't know if I see another team that could go, 12 guys deep with us, 13 guys deep with us, 14 guys deep with us. I mean, I think the talent that the Seahawks have this year is a step above what we've had in years past, and I'm really excited. I think that showed at Media Day as well.
Well, I mean, we talked with Coach Woods about her elite high school recruiting, and I think with Coach Sidley, you got to look at his transfer portal recruiting because, he's taken a lot of players from the portal, and like you mentioned, he's taken players from all over the place. Like Harlan comes from Niagara. We've got a lot of guys from D2 and junior colleges. He's looking everywhere, and he's getting the best talent for this team. And you think, like last year, we had Malik Harden-Hayes from North Dakota State. We had KJ Jenkins from New Mexico. He's really going all over the country to get the best players for his team.
Yeah, and this year, I mean, I think that, going into the transfer portal, there was some uncertainties for this team, but I think overall, Siddle has done a tremendous job of forming a well-rounded roster that has the ability, if one guy, injuries happen or stuff, like if one guy goes down and somebody needs to step up for a game, we have that depth.
Yeah.
If something's going on where, somebody's playing limited minutes, we have the depth to sub in, a second, a third big man or a second or third wing. And I think what it takes now is between now and to when the season starts is just getting better as a team, getting closer as a team.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. I think we've got a good collective this year, and I'm really excited. But I know you and I could sit here and talk basketball all day, but I think that about wraps up this episode. So, Ryan, thanks again for joining me, talking all about Media Day. Really enjoyed having you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk more with you over this year, talk about some Seahawk basketball. It's going to be a good year.
Yeah, we'll have him back on. Be sure to follow Seahawks Central Sports on Instagram and TealTV on YouTube to stay up to date on all things UNCW hoops. I'm Davis Bell. Thanks again to Ryan Weiner, and we'll see you next time.